Here it is for you guys. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Thunder. It is Tuesday night. We got Thomas Schooley in the house. Break it down. And we've got John. Cheers. And we're here at the Lake 85 in East Lake. So if you want to come join us, come on down. It's on off East Lake Road.
He can't hear you. John can't hear you.
I'm sitting right next to him. Of course he can. All right. Well, first things first. This is John's second time, and he needs a nickname. So in the comments, we want to hear some nicknames for John. All right. Well, first things first. That's going to be the goal tonight, is to find John a good nickname. It can't be the stash. We want to hear some nicknames for John.
And we hear it behind you. They have it played on.
Yeah, it's on there.
They're at this bar, so if you guys want to go watch the game in your local, go watch the play. Go there and watch it with them.
All right, we're having them cut this out. They're putting the audio in here, and it's super loud.
Yeah.
All right, well, guess what? We do have a hockey game tonight. We do have some games to talk about, and we only have 55 minutes to do it. So the plan is we're going to cut this audio in here. These folks can, if they want to listen to us, they can come on up to the table and listen to us here.
Yeah, it'll sound much better.
There we go. Now we can actually hear each other talking.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that. It's been a minute since we did this remote. Anyway, that is the, there you go, Phil Haney Jr. No, that is not counted as John's nickname. So we're taking names for John all night in the chat here. So bring us your best nickname for John. Maybe what we'll do is we'll take the top 4 and we'll put them on Twitter, and then Twitter will really decide, or X will really decide what's going to happen with John's nickname, and probably decide if he's going to come back or not. So
My ex has never had good nicknames for me.
well, hopefully she's not watching. All right, well, big game tonight, Vancouver Canucks. So what I want to do is I want to talk about the last couple nights that we've played. We've got 3 games since the last time we went live. We went 2-1, and we've got tonight's game as well. So let's start back on Wednesday last week. The Lightning playing Pittsburgh. Penguins coming back to town. They're trying to complete the revenge tour back in Tampa and beat the Penguins, who beat them the week before. So, Thomas Schooley, you were at the game. What was the vibe? And we got our first nickname for John. It's Johnny Be Good. There you go.
We got to see if he's any good first. It was actually really good. It was a really good setting, which was odd because the 2 games were total opposites, but yet they're both played here in Tampa. The one just a week prior, it was a lot of Pittsburgh fans. This past game, it was more Tampa fans. You did have some of the "Let's Go Pens" chant, but Lightning fans started drowning it out. It was a pretty entertaining game. But we talked about it. We talked about this revenge tour, and they seem to be doing good on this little revenge tour.
Well, the revenge tour is over now, right?
Yeah. Well, we have a couple more games coming up that could also be
good, bad, revengeful.
Revengeful. There you go.
All right. Well, that Pens game did start off with who I thought, if you don't include Nikita Kucherov, which you have to include him, who was the best Lightning player this week, and that was Anthony Cirelli. Started off with a power play goal, deflection from Hedman, makes it 1-0. And then it was Cooch from Heddy, another power play goal. So the Bolts are up 2-0 in that game. And what do you know? They held the lead. I thought most of the game the Bolts were pretty much dominant that game. What did it look like at Amalie? And we'll talk to John too a little bit. or as the fans call him, Johnny Be Good.
I actually did not get to pay attention to the Pittsburgh game.
That's Johnny Be Bad then.
Yes, it was.
The Lightning really shut them down. The Lightning, there was not many shots on goals. They had Jari off all night long. They kept him on his toes. I really think Pittsburgh did a good job blocking shots for a while there. Neither team had a shot on goal for a good 5 minutes. They were just passing back and forth and staying in the middle. Neither one was going down to each other's side. So I thought Tampa did pretty good with the forecheck, and also the defense did pretty good, keeping them out of Vassie's way. And then they ended up getting past Jari a couple times. I really would have liked to seen when Pittsburgh emptied net, and I would have liked to seen Vassie try to get the goal.
Yeah, we talked about that, though. We've never seen Vassie shoot that much. Jano did have the third goal for the Lightning, and if you remember, it should have been a shutout for Vassie. It was the Penguins scored with less than a minute left in the game, and it was kind of Vassie's fault. He kind of misplayed the puck, although Nick Paul was right there with him, and the puck just almost like a magnet went in the back of the net. So it should have been a shutout against the Pens, which I would have taken over a Vassie goal. Actually, no, that's not true. I would have taken the Vassie goal over the.
Yeah, I would have done that. I don't think I've seen that in a Lightning game. For us,
the Lightning have never scored. Yeah. A goalie from the Lightning has never scored a goal.
No.
So a new goal for this season. But yeah, I thought all around a really good game for the Lightning to come back, beat Pittsburgh. This weird setup is weird because I have to look down to see Thomas. I have to look over to see you, and the camera's right there, and our friends are sitting behind it waving at us. So it's not distracting at all. All right.
Right after the game, the Lightning flew right out to Nashville. As soon as the game ended, their flight was actually 48 minutes after the end of the game.
And so did I, Thomas Schooley. A little bit later on. It was very early in the morning, though, so I was on their flight in spirit. But yeah, I went to Nashville for the Predators game. There were definitely a lot of Bolts fans. There were a lot of Bolts fans in my section. There were a lot of Bolts fans in the city. I met a lot of Bolts fans that are probably tuning in tonight for the first time. So thank you, and thanks for hanging out and having some drinks in Nashville. And that game started off pretty good. You had ABB getting on the board early with a really pretty goal. Hagel
Cirelli
to Cirelli again. And this is the theme this week. A lot of Cirelli. A lot of Cooch, too. A lot of Cooch. But this was actually the game that Cooch broke his streak. He did not get any points in this game. And that was the Lightning's only goal in this game. And you could kind of feel the momentum shift as the Lightning continued to get power plays and did not score. And then Nashville, who doesn't score as much on power plays, was getting power plays and scoring. And as good as the Lightning were playing, they were still getting opportunities, even though they were getting outplayed or outplayed on the scoreboard. But they were still getting opportunities throughout the game, but you just kind of felt throughout the game the whole momentum shift. Because after that first period, it seemed like things were going to go pretty well. But Nashville relentlessly gave us, I said it was a whooping. A lot of people wouldn't say it was a real whooping, but on the scoreboard it was 5-1. It was. Nashville wins that game. Sends us Lightning fans home sad, but we had some fun after the game. So everyone's a winner in Nashville.
Every game that the Lightning have not scored on the power play, they have lost this season. There is every single loss that the Lightning have had, they've went 0-4 whatever on the power play.
You know what else happened this game? Tell me if it's the first time you've heard this season.
McDonough.
Ryan McDonough, former Lightning player, scores on the Lightning.
A goal and an assist that night for him.
Well, guess what? His first goal of the season, also a theme for the Lightning, giving up those first goals of the season. Yeah, and that was, I guess it was a nice shot by McDonough, but that was just a sloppy goal to give up. It was a huge rebound that he backhanded from the hash marks. You're not supposed to score like that.
No, not
and
on that.
There was a theme that kind of started in this game and carried over into the next game of these long shots not getting getting through and getting through to Vasi. But actually, Vasi didn't play this game. It was JJ because
JJ,
it was the back-to-back.
Yeah.
And they were actually, there were a lot of screens and a couple deflections in this game. And if we've seen anything, that's definitely something that beats JJ. And then the real kind of story that came out of this game was Austin Watson with the old slapper as time expires, and he gets hit with the max fine that you can get. Didn't get suspended, but he did get a max fine. What did you guys think of Austin Watson's kind of dirty play he was on right at the end of the game?
I think as a veteran player, you don't do that. He was fined by the league $2,022.57. But I think as a veteran as he is, that's not something you do.
Yeah, it was his former teammate as well. So
Yeah.
I didn't think he did it on purpose, but I guess there are some angles that showed it was intentional.
Your mic is messed up, eh?
There we go.
All right, so I do want to show this because if you haven't seen this yet, here it is. And for anyone that's kind of defending Watson, if you kind of look at this angle, which is really behind the net, there's Watson right there. There's Luzon, who he hits, who is not in front of the goalie or really in between him and the goalie. So I don't know if it was just a really bad shot or if he just shot that thing right at him. And where that hit him on the skate, that hurts.
That does hurt.
That definitely hurt. And then you can see Tyler Mott walks up. Well, we can't see it because the clip cut out, but Tyler Mott goes up to the guy and checks on him because he's like, dang, he took a shot to who knows where. From where I was seeing, it looked like he got him where you don't want to get hit by the puck.
Right in between the skate and the pad.
So, yeah, not a great play, not a great look for Watson, who's got himself in some trouble in the past. That's not going to make people forget about that. And yeah, Sean Avery did talk about this on his podcast, and of course Sean Avery loved what Watson did because Sean Avery's basically Watson's hero. But yeah, you can't be doing stuff like that. That just makes kind of the whole organization look bad. And also a theme this week beyond Sorelli and cute scoring was the end of game drama. So we'll talk about the next game. But did you guys gather anything else from this? Or do you want to hear about my Predators Stadium experience?
No, remember you're supposed to report back to us about the team store.
I did. I took video of the team store and I never posted it. So they had a nice team store there. It was packed, similar to ours. They did have really funky, big Predators cowboy hats that I did hone in on. I was like, oh, this is what Thomas is talking about. Thomas wants a Tampa Bay Lightning big foam hat. I didn't really notice anything else. Like, I got the same old junk that, they're just trying to sell everything. I didn't really notice, but I did take video. I'll post that video later tonight on our Facebook and also our I'll post it on my Instagram and also our page on Twitter/X, which is at We the Thunder Pod. But yeah,
no, that the game sucked. Giving McDonough his first game. I mean, it's great to see McDonough, but not when he scores against us.
It was Star Wars night as well. I don't know if that means anything to you guys, but there was a lot of Star Wars stuff going on.
The Force was not with us.
There you go, Johnny Puns. Well, I really like how Nashville's set up, first of all. Their stadium's right on Broadway. Their football stadium's at the other end of Broadway across the bridge. The Lightning fans that went to the Stadium Series know that. I just think they have an awesome setup for sports. Like, you always are kind of struggling, I guess not anymore with Water Street and other restaurants and bars and stuff opening. But in Nashville, you don't hardly have to worry because there's a million bars within 5-minute walk of that stadium. So they have a sweet setup. When you walk in, it kind of reminded me a little bit of kind of when you walk in the main entrance of the Rays Stadium. It's got that big open area,
the rotunda area.
Yeah. So it's very similar to that. The inside of the stadium, one thing I definitely did notice is they have to upgrade their sound system. Their sound system sounded horrible compared to Amalie Arena. And their Greg Wolf is no Greg Wolf.
No.
So always a good time in Nashville, except when you lose 5-1. But I'll tell you what, the fans there were not mean at all. Like, I was hanging out with fans afterwards and we're having a good time. They weren't like malicious or anything like that. So it's not like we were in Philadelphia.
I think Tampa needs that setup where they have, they're building Water Street and they're building it up, but I still don't think there's enough bars slash nightclub-ish to go to that I thought would bring a lot of fun to the Tampa Bay area and downtown Tampa there. If you had bars, like as soon as you walk out of Bridgestone, you got Tootsie's right diagonal from you. You got all of Broadway down there. If they moved the Ybor bars, not the Ybor people, but the Ybor bars there at a Water Street or around the arena, I think it would be so much better.
All right, sorry, John's mic keeps going in and out. But no, we're never going to be in Nashville. We're never going to have a whole row of bars unless they build the stadium or move Amalie Arena, which I call the Ice Palace still.
I still call it the
to
Ice Palace.
If they move it over to Ybor, then you're kind of getting close to
I think the issue is I think they're trying to do that, and from what we were told, Vinnick's vision is like outside Dallas Stars Arena, if you ever go there, where they have the nice little district there with restaurants and stuff. But I think the restaurants that are opening up in downtown Tampa are too
bougie
and 5-star and everything. So those bars are not for your hockey fans, not for the average hockey fan. The Addition has a great little nightclub there and stuff, but you have to be in gowns and stuff. You need to have a bar right there that you can go to in your hockey gear. That new bar is going to open up right across the street. What is that one?
Just looking up Yard House.
Yard House, yeah. They're supposed to be opening up by the end of this month.
It's open right now.
Yeah, it says it's open.
Is it?
Google says it's open, recently opened. So, next game.
Yeah. So I'll be down there Monday night because Monday night Greg Wolf is hosting the taping of the block party at Cigar City again. So I'm going to that with Serena. But yeah, it's that one I think will draw. I bet you that will be packed before every game and after, just like all the bars that have been there before was.
Yeah, it will be absolutely slammed the rest of this season. And by the way, shout out to other bars that we like the Lake. If you're in the area, come on down. We're gonna watch the game till they kick us out. But also downtown Yeoman's. They expanded, a year or two ago, so you've got plenty of room there. Hat Tricks needs to somehow add another floor or open a basement or something because that place is almost packed. But those are your 1-star bars around Tampa, and I don't mean that in a bad way. That's the kind of place I want to go. I'm just talking about, like, we don't need to go to these rooftop bougie bars that are all opening up downtown like we were talking about. Cool. All right, well, on to Seattle. It didn't seem like the team left Nashville immediately because I did see some people posting pictures with some of the crew the next day. So they must have left in the afternoon to go on to Seattle. But the Seattle game was a fun one, another late night game like tonight, and another Sorelli goal to kick it off, a deflection.
Yep. So
Sorelli continues his hot streak to open the game. And I think this is the new line that might stick now. This Sorelli, Hagel, ABB. They seem to be producing in these last 3 games. What do you guys think of that line combination? Could that be the new number 2 line?
it would be nice. I'm actually excited for ABB. I don't know that he's actually got a fair shot He's getting a few games here and there, but he's put some size on, and I like the way that he's playing now compared to the last few seasons.
You needed somebody with speed to compare with AB&B. And I think that's where, and it's the same thing with Point and Hagel. I think Hagel and ABB really complement each other. I think Cirelli there gives them a little bit of a backup plan in case one of them can't crash the net for it. Cirelli's the back thing. And Cirelli, I've seen 4 different reports today. If you play fantasy hockey and you don't have Cirelli on your team and he's able to be picked up, he is one of the top people to pick up, is Cirelli right now for fantasy hockey. His stake has went from, I think it's a 300 and something to he is the second biggest pickup player in the past week for fantasy hockey.
Not a surprise. And some beautiful goals. We really needed someone on this team that could fill in. I think Killer was really good at it. And I think Corey Perry was really good at these deflections. Like, those are so tough to stop. And Cirelli's, 2 goals in these last two goals in the last 3 games that he's had have been these deflection type of goals, which
but
seems unstoppable.
He's just like Killer and just like Paul. They are both streaky. So right now you got that Cirelli streak. At the beginning of the season, we had the Paul streak. We saw this, and we're used to this. This is the person filling in for Killer. We're used to this we've seen it year in and year out for Killer. You forget he does so good at the beginning, and then at the end, everybody's been wanted to trade him. Or he would do real good at the end and suck in the beginning. They would want him traded before the trade deadline. And this is the same thing that's happened with Paul. We did see Paul score on this trip too. In the last week, we saw Paul get a goal, and Cirelli's the same way. And we've been talking about Cirelli had that nice contract. He needs to live up to it, and now he's starting to get that going. And we might see him a little bit more with looks like Stammer's out again tonight. We should know. We should know here in 5 minutes. If he's not, it looks like Hetty's also out. That's why we did the 2 call-ups. And had to put Sherry on LTIR to clear the cap space for them. So we should see that here soon. But you really need that coming in to get these 2 moving, get Paul going, get Cirelli going. You can't afford a streak of Killorn again the way our defense is. You've got to have a constant with those 2 because you need scoring from this team.
Definitely need a little consistency from guys other than Cooch. Hey, Cooch, what was that again? What was that you were telling me?
Can you make it simpler?
Maybe you can make it simpler, Cooch. Maybe you can make it simpler for these guys.
It seems to be simple for him this year.
Well, a funny thing happened in that Seattle game. In the last minute, which those last-minute goals are just soul crushers, It was not Cooch dishing it out. It was Point with the pinpoint pass over to Cooch, who just got to tap one in for once. Usually you see that the other way. But a back-breaking goal there to make it 2-0. And then Seattle actually scored next. It was Shore off a deflection from a Bellemare shot. I started to have a mini heart attack because I thought Bellemare was also going to score his first goal of the season and former player. But shout out to Nigel and Steve with the quick coach's challenge on that, and we won it, and he was offsides by a mile. So no goal for the Kraken. They do eventually score twice, and this is what I was talking about last game, mentioned for the last game, was Vasi really had problems seeing the puck.
Yep.
It was these long shots that it seemed like he just was not reacting in time to. Did you guys notice that too?
They said that last year. They've said that last year when he was letting in quite a big goals. They said the majority of the goals were from near the blue line. So I don't know if it's been a tracking issue that they've ended up realizing that's how you're going to score him, or if it's just a screening issue. But they have said that for the last year and a half is that he doesn't track them well from the blue line.
I didn't think on 2 of these goals he was screened, though. That was the weird part. He didn't have anyone directly in front of him, And then it was the third period. It's 2-2. And then the third period, McCann scores in the first 10 or 15 seconds. And that was another one where it looked like maybe there was somebody in front of him or maybe kind of somebody in front of that shot a little bit. But he should have seen it, I thought. But anyway, Seattle takes the lead in the third period. It's 3-2. And that's where Nick Paul comes in. A beautiful pass from Sorelli to Nick Paul right in front of the net, and Nick Paul puts it in. Nick Paul had not scored in 10 games. So talk about consistency. They need Nick Paul to not disappear the second half.
Okay, Stammer is playing tonight. No Hedman. Hedman is now listed as day-to-day with an upper body injury.
Is an upper body injury the flu?
Well, no, because he went out at the.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, but I heard it was because he might have not been feeling well, and they took him out. Because Stamkos was sick, right?
Yes.
I think it might be that. One of the things, if you've been watching in other games, is other teams are having a lot of guys that are out due to sickness or flu or whatever that's going around. So whatever is out there in the world is definitely something that NHL players are not immune to. And I guess with as much as they travel, they're going to pick up a lot of that crap that's out there. So hopefully with Hedman, it's just that, because I didn't see any plays that took him out of that game. And him and Stamkos are buddies. And as Stephanie says here, don't even say that, Stephanie, in your lightning clause, your stammer clause. Yeah, hopefully it's not concussion related, because Hedman had plenty of those early in his career.
So I'm wondering if Myers gets in.
That's a good question. I would assume so. I mean, they'll probably go. Yeah, I guess they would have to, right? Fleury played last game.
No, Stamkos, Chaffee, and Fleury are in. Watson and Myers scratched. So Chaffee becomes the 400th player to wear a Lightning uniform in their history.
Wow.
That actually is a pretty small number.
Well, they haven't been around for that long. All right, so the Lightning do tie that game up in Seattle, and then we go to overtime, which has not treated us well. But hey, we got a couple overtime wins.
We have, and this one was a good one
in the last couple weeks here. And this one started with Seattle actually getting 2-on-1. And if you go watch that replay, I think I've got it teed up, so we'll be able to watch it. It's Point that gets back to kind of intervene in that 2-on-1 and force a bad shot. And then Point circles back and changes with Hagel, who comes back, takes the puck like a bat out of hell, skates. He looked like Point there.
Yeah, he skated the entire ice, too.
So damn fast. Yeah, coast to coast, just past everyone. And then through the defender's legs. By the way, I did that in a game last night. For the pass. And of course, it's Cooch there waiting to end the game. And then Cooch's celebration is to go up to the glass and yell at some guy. So Schoolie, I know if anyone's got it, Scoops does. Schoolie Scoops does. What the hell did that guy do?
I heard he was heckling them all night long.
That's what I heard too. Tony from Sticks of Fire was there. And I hit him up. I was like, hey, you have any idea what happened with that dude? And he seemed to be making commotion. Tony said he was hassling or heckling Bassey big time.
He was heckling a couple of them. I heard that there was some hand gestures towards some of the players at times. And he was just being really, really obnoxious and rude to the Lightning players.
Well, I'm going to share that goal just because how wonderful it was. And I should have the audio on here as well with Dave Mishkin. So let's enjoy this. I think this is, where's Hagel here? I don't know. Let's just let this puppy play.
In for Hagel.
Hagel's behind me.
Brandon Hagel. Looking to motor his way out of trouble. Hagel accelerates up the right wing to the red line. Across the blue line to the right circle. Hagel. In front. Good job.
And a beauty. And the Kuch goes right to this guy. And bangs on the
One
bus.
of the biggest wins of the year for the Lightning. 4-3 in overtime.
So a beautiful
What a play by Brandon Hagel.
to end the game. Overtime.
He
winner.
had
You
pressure
gotta like
coming in the
that.
defensive
We
zone.
can't hear you over Michigan.
Straight line hockey right
We'll be
up
quiet.
the right wing, and it turned into a 2-on-1. He got the pass across to Kucherov in the net. Kucherov his third point tonight. The Lightning win it 4-3 in overtime. They could have won this game 7-1.
Backhand pass like that is not easy. To get it between the legs like that, that's pretty.
So pretty, and what a way to end the game. But yeah, I thought it was funny that these last two games have kind of ended with some sort of like drama at the end, and I was one of those fools that stayed up late Saturday night to watch that game, and I didn't listen to Mish on the radio call, but I did hear him there at that clip say the Lightning could have won this game 7-1. The Lightning hit a lot of posts this last week. I wish that was a stat. I wish we knew how many posts they hit, because I often feel like the Lightning are number one in the league in hitting posts.
Somewhere it must be a stat because Michigan always talks about it after the game, and he can tell you how many they have. I don't know if it's just something he keeps, or if it's something a stat is kept somewhere, and maybe you have to look in the deep NHL history books to find those. But there was a lot of Lightning fans also there in Seattle. I saw lots of people.
Mandingo was there.
Yep. Mandingo's,
Laura
from Sticks of Fire.
Laura from Six of Fire was there with Tony, I'm assuming. So it's crazy how well traveled this team has become, and it'll be interesting to see how many fans are in Vancouver, because that's as far as you can go, right?
Yeah.
You can't get any further than Vancouver to go watch a hockey game. I don't think we're gonna have too many fans. Like Seattle's kind of that destination, being the new team, new arena, and all that stuff, but probably won't have as many tonight. All right. Me and John have been debating. By the way, we'll do a quick commercial. First of all, John's second time on the show. He's jealous he doesn't have a cool nickname. So we need more suggestions. We only got one. He gave me another one. I said, you can't make your own nickname. Johnny Vegas. You can't give yourself a nickname.
That came from Martin over
Okay,
there.
we'll count Johnny Vegas. We've also got Johnny Be Good. We have Johnny Be Bad. We need a couple more because the final ones are going to go on Twitter. But before we get to tonight's game and our debate here, make sure you use our SeatGeek code. That helps us tremendously every time you use it. Code is WTTPod. I used it in Nashville. I got myself some beautiful tickets. Go look on my Instagram at Shooty Shoots. You'll see my seats were sick. You know why?
You sent me a picture.
You know why? Because I got $20 off. I got $20 off using WTT Pod because it was my first purchase on SeatGeek.com. So,
sorry. So yes,
bills. Pay the bills here, okay?
use the WTT Pod for anything that's going on down at the arena or anywhere else you go, even when you're traveling to away arenas. But if you look at any of the crunches, I'm in a couple of the crunch groups only because obviously they're our AHL affiliate, so you want to see what's going on there also, in case we do have to do some of these call-ups. He's came out of nowhere. He's a Michigan guy, and they say he's really good. I think he's tied for second in the league in scoring right now. And I'm just looking at what line he's going to be on, and he's on the ABB Stamkos line. Is where
what happened to the ABB Hagel Cirelli?
Hagel, Point, and Cooch, Paul, Cirelli, Icemont, ABB, Stammer, Shafee, Jeannot, Glendening, and Mott. And then you have Sergey and Chernak, Dahan and Radish, and Fleury and Pervix with Hetty out.
And I think this is Chaffee's third game ever in the NHL.
Yeah.
Well,
no, it's his first game First game ever in that.
I thought he played 2 with Minnesota.
Did he?
Maybe I'm wrong. I might be wrong.
Where's our stat guy? All right, well, I honestly never even heard of the dude, so I hope he does well. I hope someone on our team scores the first goal of the season. He didn't play for Vancouver, did he?
No.
All right, let me finish my commercial here. Cigar City Brewing. Check out my shirt. Check out my shirt. It's a Lightning Cigar City shirt. And those fine folks at Cigar City help this podcast as well. Somebody, I forget his name, won a $25 gift card and an awesome cooler full of swag last week from us in Cigar City. Thanks to Jai Alai being the official craft beer of the Tampa Bay Lightning. And guess what? Your friends at We the Thunder will be having a watch party there next month, January 6th, Boston Bruins, 7 o'clock, a game you can't miss. And if you've never watched a game with Thomas Scully, this is your chance. This is your chance. So come join us. I'm meeting with Keaton on Thursday. So we're going to talk a little bit more about what the heck we're going to do there and have some fun with that. So more to come next week on that, but make sure you mark your calendar. And I said it last week. I didn't post about it yet, but if you RSVP on the Facebook invite, we're going to put you in a drawing there to win a signed Jai Alai mini stick that is signed by Anthony Cirelli, the hottest player in fantasy hockey. Hold on. That deserves a sound effect.
Keep my team's name out your fucking mouth.
Thank you, Will Smith, for making this an R-rated podcast. There you go. There's some other players on there. One sounds like Publix. We don't bring him up too much lately. And then who else was on there? I can't tell any of these names. Looks like Scribble to me. Looks like Thomas Scully grabbed a Sharpie and just went nuts. It's 11. I know who that is. The new guy.
Let's see how quickly you can figure it out.
I'm just blanking on his name right now. I know who it is.
Glenn Denning.
Glenn Denning. Yeah. I wanted to say Sheary so bad. I knew it wasn't Sheary.
There you go. Stephanie got it.
Of course, Stephanie knows. Glenn Denning. Yeah. So those three folks have signed that, and it's a cool little hockey stick. And more to come from our friends at Cigar City. And don't forget, Monkey Colt Coffee. You can use my code SHOOTY10. Get 10% off. That stuff's so good. If you have not tried Monkey Colt Coffee and you like coffee, that's the best coffee I've ever had. I seriously drink it every day. I used to drink 1 cup a day. I drink 2 now.
I have to check it out.
Freaking coffee addict now. Thanks, Matt, from Monkey Colt. Anyway, check it out. Use our code. Commercial over. All right, so me and John, no nickname yet, have been debating this for a while. And this goes back to the Lightning not having Vasi and seeing kind of how other players are doing kind of this dual tandem goalie situation. And my take is if you have a top 3, top 5 goalie, you got to pay him and you keep that goalie, and that's your ride or die for the season. And that's the goalie that's going to play most of your games. That's the goalie that's going to play every game in the playoffs. And that's that all-star caliber goalie that you've got to pay about $10 million. That's the going rate for that top goalie. John's argument is the dual goalie tandem of having 2 lower paid goalies gets the job done, and you save money so you can bulk up your defense and you can bulk up your offense, whatever you need. So I want to give John my mic, and I'm going to give you a new mic. But tell us what you've kind of uncovered here, and I'll listen for now.
While you're doing that real quick, Cirelli is wearing the second A for tonight's game with Hetty being out.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
All right, so when the question is asked, is Vasilevsky worth the money? He absolutely is. Do you pay that? If I'm a GM, I wouldn't, because you can't bulk up your bottom 4 rotating defensemen and you can't do your bottom six the same way we did in 2020. We were lucky to have some of the guys that we had. Over the last 3 years compared to this year, the defenses for the bottom four guys, the guys that rotate in, past Sergey, past Hedman, they're only making $3.4 million, and they're playing like it. Prior to this year, it was $8 million. $8 million. You had better players. So it's not a knock on Vassy. For me, it's just like, if you had that extra $9.5 million, or you take Boston Bruins, their two goalies make $8.9 million, and they're the number one team in the East. That's just my argument. It's not a knock on Vasilevsky. I think he's one of the top two goalies in the world on any given day.
Wait. You slipped there. You're second. Who do you think's the best goalie?
People are going to hate me. Don't blow me up, but Shesterkin is just. He's
Igor, really?
Yeah, he's
really?
He's just as good. That's why I said on any.
He's number one in the Emmy nominations and his little Emmy awards for his flopping, but to be number one in the NHL, obviously we found his nickname, the Fool, because there ain't no way Igor, the Flopmeister, is better. But here's the difference, I would say,
on any given day. I mean, look at. The Nashville game.
Well, yeah. Hey, I didn't say Vassy was the best, though.
He could be on any given day. He could be the best.
I actually think there's some goalies there that could pretty much rival Vassy, and a lot of them tend to be newer goalies because you don't have too much tape on them. But to your theory of the defense, how before it was this much and now, you got to remember back then the money was spent. Yeah, you said on the bottom four, because that would have included McDonough, was on that bottom one. Sergey was getting paid real cheap then. So now you kind of flip-flop that, where you have McDonough's money's going to Sergachev, and now you have to pay where you had McDonough to the Sergey money.
It's just a thought. It's not like saying Vassy's bad.
No. I know. I was just fucking with you because I know people will chew you up now.
Well, no, there's people that will agree with them too. I see them post online about like, hey, it's time to use that money elsewhere. So I get it. It's just not me. So what I'm looking at right now is this is a list of goalies that have won the Stanley Cup basically over the last, since 2000. So it's way too large of a list. But if we just kind of go through this list, let's see if we recognize these as top goalies. Because at the end of the day, what we want to do is win a Stanley Cup, right? So Antti Niemi, he was back in when Chicago was winning the Stanley Cup in 2010s. He was their goalie. And at that time, he was a top-tier goalie. Jonathan Quick, if I'm not mistaken, he won the Conn Smythe at one point for LA when they won, and he was the top goalie. Cam Ward, going back way back to 2006 after the Bolts won their cup. Remember, there was no 2005 Stanley Cup. Cam Ward in 2006 was a top goalie, and he was actually a rookie that season, which is insane.
So he wasn't making $9.5 million.
No, but eventually
nobody was.
You got to pay these guys. John Sebastian Jigger. Jiggy. Fucking love that guy. He was a great goalie. He won the Conn Smythe. That was Anaheim Ducks. Marc-Andre Fleury, 2009. Dominic Hasek, 2002. Corey Crawford. That was the other Blackhawks goalie that won it. That one, I don't know if I put him up there top 3, top 5. I guess maybe during that season.
Crawford was killer back then. He did the back-to-backs, and he was killer.
Yeah, I guess he was a top goalie when they were winning the Stanley Cup. Matt Murray for the Penguins, not so top now, but back in the day. Nikolai Habibolin, another top one. Anyway, I could go through this whole list, but I think the point is these goalies that are winning Stanley Cups for the most part are the star goalies. I feel like you see the star goalies end up there in that Stanley Cup Finals and more often winning it than you do with the tandem of two lesser paid goalies.
And I also think once you see a rising goalie is ready to unseat that star goalie, I mean, look at Matt Murray. He pushed Flower out of Pittsburgh. And they would trade Flower for that Stanley Cup, but then the next following year, what they won 2 under him, the third year they would have traded Fleury back for Murray in a heartbeat. There's a lot of those teams that push somebody out who was a good goaltender. You had Vasi push Bish out. We didn't re-sign Bish because of Vasi was ready to go, and he was much cheaper. Back then, we could have had a 1-2, which we kind of did with Deming on his first year, being the backup to Vasi. And so, the thing in Boston, it's worked. And I think we talked about this last week. One of their contracts are going to come up soon, and they're going to get a starting job somewhere.
Yeah, it's next year.
I think they're going to trade Ullmark this season.
You probably have to get something for him, because they're going to walk somewhere else because they're going to get paid huge money.
Well, I think Swayman's their guy.
Yeah, I think so too.
They decided that already. So it's an interesting topic. It'll be more interesting if JBB decides, hey, we need to keep Steven Stamkos because he's the pride and joy of Tampa, and has to move a player. Does he make that move? The other side of that, though, is who you going to get? Who you going to get to play goalie? Like, JJ's been okay with him in there. We're a 500 team. And who do you think you're going to get to? I'm assuming you take that money, you put it into the defense, right?
You would, yeah.
So who do you think you're going to get?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have the answer to the question. I'm just saying, like, for me, I think the cap percentage is pretty high, and who knows? I don't know that he's going to move Vasi, but like next year, you're talking about next year with Stamkos, we lose Brett Seabrook's long-term IR. That's $6.7 million, and we're at the cap now with that. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Well, that's on long-term IR though. So,
but we get to use that money.
You're right. We're using that money. We're using portions of that money right now.
Yeah. So next year, it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I think the only way you do it is if you actually make that move to trade Bassett, you've got to get defenders back in that, and they've got to be the kind that have that friendly term or upside on that contract.
If I'm not mistaken, he has a no-move clause until 2026.
All these guys they lock up have them. Yeah. So, yeah.
Usually no moves, they have to submit.
They have a list of teams.
Yeah, that they
will go to.
We're down to 9 minutes left of the show, guys.
Yeah, let's do some predictions for tonight. That's always fun, right? So let's start off in the chat. We want to hear from you. Final score tonight. Schoolie, what do you think it's going to be? This place actually still going. If anyone wants to come up here, I think another crew just walked in. So
4-2 Bolts.
4-2, the most popular score in hockey. What do you got, John?
I was going to say 3-2 Tampa.
4-2, 3-2. I'm going to go Vasi playing?
Yes.
5-4 Bolts.
You have the 2 top scorers in the league in tonight's game, right?
Yeah, actually, I did not do anything to celebrate Cooch, who is putting distance between himself and JT Miller. Yeah. JT Miller's second in points right now. Cooch has him by 7. So he's putting some distance. Also, I don't think we mentioned this yet. Cooch was your number 1 star of the week. 4 goals, 3 assists, I think it was. And then 3 of those goals were game-winning goals. He had all of the game-winning goals this week.
And you have Kucherov is the second most in the NHL in goals, and Bozer is 3rd. So as of tonight, because what's his face scored, Matthew scored his 20th tonight. So Now Kucherov is second in goals. So we have a lot of number one, number twos, number two, number three.
All right. Stephanie's got Tampa 3-1. You know I'm right. Sometimes I wonder if you're a Lightning fan, but you do have a good point. You usually do. Hedman out. Canucks are playing great. No lies told. But I feel like the Lightning are on a little bit of a streak right now, or about to start one, at least, with that overtime win Saturday. All right, let's pick who's going to score. John.
Cirelli.
He's
on a roll.
Cirelli, and who you got?
I'm gonna say Pointer. Well, no, I'm gonna go Stammer. I think he gets the power play record.
Stammer back.
The 200 power play tonight.
I'm not gonna go with the easy pick. I could easily sit here and say the leading scorer in the NHL, Nikita Kucherov, but we know he's gonna score. I'm gonna go with Nick Paul. We're gonna make it 2 games in a row where Nick Paul is gonna get on the board. So let's go.
Stephanie says the new guy. I think he might factor in something. So we'll see. I did see who were they saying was on the first power play unit? I can't remember. Maybe it was Sergey, but I thought it was someone else.
I'll tell you what, I did not like Hagel and Stamkos' spot there. You have to have a right-handed shot there on that spot.
Yeah, it was very odd seeing that.
And then they switched him out and put Sergey out there. I was good with that. Sergey, Hedman, Kuch on the other side, point in the middle. And then it seems like, they've been putting Cirelli in over Paul, or maybe they've been switching back and forth. But I feel like I've been seeing Cirelli on that power play too. But yeah, having Stamkos back in his spot is going to help that power play tremendously, even though they couldn't score Thursday with Stamkos in the lineup. Maybe he was sick for that game. But anyway, good to have Stamkos back. No Hedman tonight. You want to do any other predictions for tonight?
Well, here's a look inside the arena. Jan Spencer just posted this in Thunderbolts. Her and her husband are there at the arena. So
well, there you go, Lightning fans in the house.
We got some Lightning fans there. So, and there's someone walking right in front of her with a Stamkos jersey.
Oh, so you got some Bolts fans there. Stephanie is actually our stat person. There you go. Stamkos has 28 career points in 19 games versus Vancouver. So whoever picks Stamkos,
me.
That's a good pick.
Solar Bears just won.
And by the way, if the Lightning lose, you can always do this. We'll just blame Canada.
So a lot of suspensions this week. Have you seen that? 4 different players suspended. NHL Players Association is going after the Perrin one. I don't know if you got to see that hit from Joseph the other day in Detroit on Larkin, that basically he was dead on the ice. It looked like. And this is the second time he's kind of went after his neck. But some of the comments on X on that was so disgusting and tasteless, saying they wish he had gotten the same treatment as Adam Johnson did. It's disgusting. So now we just saw a coach today for the Chicago Wolves, the AHL team, get suspended 10 games for a gay derogatory term he used at the refs the other day.
A coach?
Yeah, the coach.
Yes.
Dude.
At a ref.
Dude.
So he was suspended 10 games from the bench. It's going to take him out until next month. Here's my question to you is, since you're the player of the two of us, obviously I don't play.
I just had a goal and 3 assists last night. That's all.
So is that kind of banter okay on the ice? Because you've seen back in the day, they used to say it's locker room talk back when they were allowing females and it started getting real bad and stuff like that. And then you've heard it over the last couple years kind of happen on the ice. You heard the fat thing with Maroon. I think that's one of the big ones you see on there. But are those things allowed on the ice? Is it something that people should not be upset with because it's just hockey ice talk? Or do you think that time is over with? Because if you ask any of the old school guys, I mean, like if this is something we would have asked Dingman, he would have been like, oh, yeah, we were calling each other all kinds of, names.
I think it still happens for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
So
If the ref hears you though, or if it's anything at the ref, you're done. You're done for the night. I get pissed off. That's the kind of stuff that pisses me off in my games because it's supposed to be fun. Like I tell my team, like, hey, let's have a competition this season and let's see who can have the best celebration, right? And you'll have people that get pissed off that we're celebrating too hard. I'm like, dude, we're playing on Monday night at 11 p.m. We're trying to have fun, but no, when people get pissed, when people get mad, they'll let whatever word fly in their rage, and it's just bad people. That's all it is. There's more good people than bad people that are playing hockey, thankfully.
Yeah.
I'm played.
I did, and 20 years ago, when some of the things that were said, it was talk, but today, no, it's different.
Yeah, I don't want anybody that listens to this tomorrow or anything like that think that we condone any of this or stuff. My thing was I wanted to see, because obviously this wasn't probably the first time this coach has ever said that. If he's going to just yell at at the ref and get suspended in 10 games. And we've seen it so much against black players. We've heard some of them come out of things that have happened in the past. And you've heard different things on hot mics all throughout the league in the last couple of years, but it seemed to have gotten a little bit more PG lately. But of course, the teams are really and the NHL is only going to put out the PG stuff. So I was just wondering if you thought it still goes on naturally because it's, you're in the heat of the moment. And in those heat of the moments, some things that come and say that you don't normally say. And is it right for them? Because I know we don't condone any of that.
Do you want to hear the last chirp that I heard, which was Sunday night?
What was that?
It was
Your
Brendan
mom?
Laz, who's on our team. He's got beautiful, long, flowing red hair. And he was kind of going back and forth with a really good player on the other team that probably should have been in a better league. We're in the beer league. We're in the novice beer league. So the guy comes over to the bench as Laz is egging him on, talking his shit on the bench. And the guy comes up and says, like, I thank God every day that I'm not a ginger or something like that. I was like, oh, man, low blow. And then my good friend Mark Bruno, this is one of my favorite stories. In the heat of the battle was kind of like, getting into it with somebody. And they're throwing words, not throwing gloves yet. And Mark was like, yeah, I couldn't think of anything to say, so I just called him a big bowling head bitch. I was like, well, that was good. So, yeah, the level of chirping in my league probably is not the same as the NHL. But I would say probably it's a little it's more PG than it probably was 20 years ago.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You just know you can't say some stuff. And if you do say anything to the ref, about the ref, curse, the ref's going to kick your ass out.
All right, let's wrap it up. Time for win a game.
Let's wrap it up. All right, so here we go in Vancouver. Keep an eye out to see when the heck we'll be doing this next week, and I guess where we'll be, because we're on the road again with this show.
And the Thunderbolts Christmas party will be announced tomorrow.
Oh, you're not going to wait till after Christmas?
No.
I'm coming. Am I invited?
Yeah. It's going to be very limited. So if you're watching this, you guys are getting the scoop. It's going to be announced tomorrow, and there is limited space, and you're going to want to come. There's going to be lots of different things to bid on, to auction off. I'm almost positive I got narrowed down the charity that we're going to donate to. and it's going to be a lot of fun. But it's going to be limited, like under 50 people.
Stay tuned, folks. All right, we'll be on next week. We've got a hockey game to watch. Grab a cup of coffee. We're going to be up late tonight. Anything else to say?
Go Bolts.
All right. This has been We the Thunder. Don't forget to be the Thunder.
That's it?
That's it.